Chapter 2. Press your weapons against me. Panting heavily, Genma slowed down the further he went. Blood trailing behind, he eventually reached his limit and finally stopped. Looking around, he couldn't see anyone for help. Breathing more heavily, Genma's eyes started to blur silently.
Looks like I went too far this time,
muttered Genma, smiling. Waddling around, he stepped on, hoping to reach town in time.
Gah, that shady man. He wasn't leading me to that clan leader, was he? It was all a trap,
said Genma to himself, falling to the ground. Laying in a puddle of blood, he was finished. His vision blacked out and lay unconscious, viciously bleeding to death.
Were you able to kill him?
Said a mysterious man.
No, but I was able to slow him down, as asked,
replied Kissam.
Not to mention I was able to defeat him in battle, but ran away before I could land the final blow.
Hey, he won't make it very far if you landed even one hit on him,
said another mysterious man.
So, why exactly do they want him dead?
Said yet another mysterious man. Kissam, giving him a mysterious look, replied,
Oh right, you weren't here earlier. Well, he has the potential to join us. If he's dead, we can revive him, loyal to us, and have our last strong member. Enough for our attack.
But of course, if we can get him to join without dying, I'll be a lot stronger.
Our mission was to lead him away from the mass trap that was set for him by his clan leader and delay him,
reminded a mysterious man.
Well, we should have him soon enough. Riku, you go next. Make sure to get him to join. Remember, he desires much power. Don't forget to mention we can give it to him. And much more,
said the leader, serious.
All right,
says Riku, smiling. Back in the city, Genma slowly opens his eyes as he wakes up.
Who? How did I get here?
Genma thought to himself. A doctor walks by, smiling, messing around with his papers.
Doctor,
shouted Genma.
How did I get here?
Looking confused, the doctor replied,
A young man dragged your body here. He seemed very concerned.
Dragged? Who in their right mind would drag a half-dead person to a hospital?
Shouted Genma.
Well, why complain? You're alive, right?
Said the young man weakly.
And I only had one arm at the time after escaping from our clan.
Nizuki, you left too?
Said Genma, concerned.
No, I was more forced out than leaving after your attack. They figured since I was your old friend, you'd try to use me for another attack.
Replied Nizuki.
So there are other members still alive?
Asked Genma.
Not now, just us two,
says Nizuki, smiling.
Ah, okay, good. There's one left, however, that got away, the leader.
Genma replied.
Ugh, he is very troublesome at side of the clan. Well, both need more training to go against him,
said Nizuki seriously.
Well, you both still need to heal more before you can go anywhere,
interrupted the doctor.
If you go now, you'll only make your wounds worse.
Well, yay, but we were already planning on staying to heal anyway,
responded Genma, smiling. The doctor replied,
Okay, just making sure you stay safe. I'll be back later for another checkup.
We're really staying here?
Asked Nizuki.
Well, yeah, kick back, get free food, and we're safe here until we fully heal,
replied Genma cheerfully.
Ugh, when it comes to free service, Genma's all over it,
thought Nizuki.
But we're in good enough shape to start our training now, and you know it.
Genma put a choosing look on his face.
But free food,
shouted Genma happily.
You've got to be kidding me. You're a legendary fighter and pass up an opportunity to train?
Replied Nizuki, shouting. Looking at Nizuki for a minute, Genma replied,
Yeah, don't you think it'd be nice to give yourself a break for once? You're always too serious about things. Haven't you ever had fun?
Well, yeah, but you almost died back there. The leader is no pushover, as you've seen. He messed you up quite a bit,
replied Nizuki. Genma stared at the ceiling for a second.
Oh, I beat the leader simply, but he ran away. Then some man told me the wrong directions and I had to fight some weird fish man. Kisame I believe was his name.
Kisame. You lived against him?
Jumped Mjerky.
He's one of the legendary fighters from the ocean country, right? Why is he here?
Thinking hard, Genma just stared at the floor confused.
Let's go get some food,
he said.
What?
Interrupted Mjerky.
And then start some training.
Finished Genma. Mjerky raised an eyebrow and followed Genma as he walked off.
So, what kind of awesome food do they give out here?
Asked Mjerky wondering.
You'll see,
replied Genma quickly. They walked into a large white room and noticed a bunch of injured people walking around. They walked into the lunch line.
Well, so, what is that?
Snapped Mjerky.
Some steak, or macaroni? I don't know,
said Genma raising an eyebrow.
It looks good though,
he said smiling. Mjerky just stared for a minute and walked off.
I don't know how steak relates to macaroni in any way, but I'm not eating that blob of funk.
Mjerky thought to himself, rushing off.
I can see why it's free. Are these doctors trying to kill me or something?
Mjerky looked around the room, seeing it get bigger then smaller as he spun around. Staring for a minute, Genma spat out a word.
Okay, now you're getting paranoid, really bad.
Well, where'd you come from so fast?
Snapped Mjerky.
Ugh, you even dozed off for a good 5 minutes mumbling off words. I don't know. You're acting pretty weird around here,
says the guy who eats mystery food.
Replied Mjerky.
Well, I'm out of here,
he said, walking off wide-eyed.
My goodness, hasn't anyone seen a baked potato before?
Thought Genma to himself, smirking as he sat down to eat. Moments later, a blast blew open the wall behind Genma. With the surroundings sparking and the smoke clearing, Genma made out a figure from behind the smoke getting closer. Squinting hard to see the object, Genma flew up and threw the potato at it, causing a large explosion.
Well, there goes my fun for the day,
Genma thought to himself, running away towards his room. He was shortly cut off by the figure again.
An exploding potato,
it asked, only to be shoved out of the way by Genma.
What in the world is that thing supposed to be?
He thought to himself, confused as he ran away. Arriving at his room moments later, Genma picked up his shuriken and kunai bag and strapped it onto his belt.
Where are my shuriken?
Said Genma, panicking. Moments after, a dark cloud hovered above the town, creating absolute darkness. Genma looked around confused.
What the?
Looking behind him, he noticed a dark grey statusing figure lurking. It has puffy, messed up hair, 3 eyes, had 4 arms, and a long ragety poncho on.
So we finally meet, Genma,
it said deeply.
What in the world is this?
Genma said, trembling. Its eyes grew red suddenly, causing everything to break away until there was nothing left but floating oblivion. Genma's heart raced and he stand there shaken.
Are you scared, Genma?
It asked violently. Smiling, Genma replied,
no,
as he got back up off his knees. He then raised his hands to the side.
What's this? No shurikens?
He said, confused.
Nah, I took you into another dimension. There's nothing you can do,
it replied. Thinking for a moment, Genma remembered something. Making seals with his hands, Genma shouted,
Kuneki summoning,
as he smacked the ground with his hands. 2 balls of light appeared before him and revealed 2 high-spinning shuriken. Grabbing them in midair, he said,
there they are. Now let's end this.
Hey, this kid knows what he's doing, but doesn't know what it is he's fighting,
it said to itself. It slowly grinded its feet against the ground as if it were about to attack. Its 4 thin arms wide open, its eyes grew red again, and said, in a demented ancient language. Popping out blades its hands, it flashed behind Genma, stabbing him in the back only to reveal it was a fake. From behind, Genma charged at it, throwing 1 large strike at blinding speed. Simply seeing this, it ducked under the shuriken and ruthlessly landed countless combos of stabs from all of its arms. Landing about 100 stabs in under 10 seconds, Genma fell back severely wounded. Getting up quickly as it dashed at Genma, he jumped back, managing to escape another fatal blow. Almost instantly, its head jerked up and its mouth opened wide, shooting out a barrage of kunais straight ahead. In a flash, Genma was exposed to about 10 kunai all over his body, falling helplessly to the ground, sliding back. Getting up again, wobbling, Genma prepared to dash for the mysterious figure. Suddenly it appeared behind him at blinding speed. Out of its chest and stomach popped out 4 crescent-shaped blades, all 4 closing in on Genma. With all 4 tightly fastened on Genma, he had no chance of moving or attacking. Wiggling around panicking, Genma attempted to escape his razor-sharp hold, but it was useless.
What is this thing?
Genma thought to himself hopelessly. Laughing, it tightened its grip, causing Genma to pour out more and more blood. Moments later, it raised its arms and started to stab Genma again ruthlessly. Screaming violently, Genma could do nothing but to accept his fate. Yet again it tightened its grip, crippling Genma instantly.
You're not as good as they say,
it said, appearing slow motion for Genma. It decided to finally drop him to the ground, blades constricting back into it.
So strong. I can't move at all,
thought Genma painfully. Its arms slowly bent back until its hands touched its shoulders, revealing a hollow area in his arm. Genma sat in horror as it slowly approached him. It said. Seconds later, 4 simultaneous booms were heard as the arms shot out, each a giant shell. All Genma could do was watch as the shells zoomed through the air, hitting him head-on, causing a shattering explosion larger than a mansion. Back in the cafeteria with his head down, Genma made a sudden jump, screaming as he woke up. Panting heavily, sweating, Genma looked around, panicking.
Mizuki,
he screamed out.
Come over here.
Not done eating that junk yet. What's wrong? You look freaked out,
said Mizuki, whispering. Grabbing the potato, Genma said,
Watch this.
He then flung it at the wall and caused a huge explosion. Behind the smoke was a young man with spiky, long, white hair and deep lines going down the shape of his nose. Staring wildly, the man spat out.
How in the world did you know I was going to blast through the wall? And why didn't you use the potato?
He asked before being shoved out of the way as Genma and Mizuki wildly ran by.
We have to get out of here,
said Genma impatiently.
I don't get it, Genma,
says Mizuki quickly.
Neither do I, but there is something in that hospital. Something with godly speed, strength, and absolutely no mercy,
replied Genma.
I saw it in my dream.
Raising an eyebrow, Mizuki stared for a minute.
Then who's the white-haired guy?
asked Mizuki.
I don't know. He just burst through the wall, so I ran to get my shurikens. Oh crap, I left them back there,
said Genma.
And why trust a dream?
said Mizuki.
Why just trust it?
The dream was too real. And I could feel all of the pain perfectly. Plus, I was right about that man being behind the wall,
said Genma, concerned.
Well, yeah, I guess. But what's this thing that attacked you?
asked Mizuki seriously.
Hold on,
said Genma, stopping. Holding his arm out, they both watched the hospital. Moments after, 2 shuriken blasted through the roof from 2 opposite directions and came whooshing towards Genma. Grabbing them, Genma said,
So he did hide them.
Then continued on running.
Oh, and that thing, I don't know. Its image flickered like static and it had 3 glowing eyes, and I don't think it was human. It had 4 arms and had hidden weapons in its body,
said Genma. Looking at him, then the ground, then back at Genma.
It does sound like an old book I read, but it couldn't seriously be real. The story is about 3 legendary warriors that protected the lands, but then got old and near death. They were able to live forever by finding a secret technique to replace their body with wood, kind of making them living evil puppets. Because of their immense speed and strength, they eventually abused their power and betrayed the country. But it ended there,
said Mizuki.
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Clapped a man from behind them.
Truly a lovely story! Really!
Who are you?
said Genma, looking back. Smiling, the man replied,
The guy you threw the potato at! Truly a classic art of bombing!
Well, what do you want with me?
asked Genma.
You see, we have a nice little group of friends who go around to tell the world in a way,
he said. Raising an eyebrow, Genma said,
Well, I don't want any part of it. So get away from me now.
Putting on an evil expression, the man just smiled and disappeared in a flash of light.
Ugh, these guys won't let off me. Who do they think they are?
said Genma.
I don't understand anything these days,
says Mizuki, confused.
But we need to find out more about these living puppets.
Putting his shurikens in the holder on his back, Genma said,
I guess we'll head off to the great library in the City of Vitality. What's that?
Asked Genma. Almost shocked, Genma replied,
It's a library that has a copy of almost every book ever made, but it's at least a 1-month walk.
Are you sure it's that important to be walking that far off?
Asked Mjerky, baffled.
Well, not really. I'd like to know something about them for the next time we meet, if we do, because I got terribly owned by that thing,
said Genma. Smiling, Mjerky replied,
Well, I guess that makes sense, and it could be better for us both. I guess we could get some other stuff while we're there as well. They are known for more than just books, right?
Dashing off, Mjerky followed, asking again,
Right? Hey, are your eyes closed?
Head twitching, Genma opened his eyes and said,
Yeah.
Closing his eyes again.
Why is he thinking so hard? What's his problem?
Mjerky thought to himself. Eyes squinting, Genma thought to himself,
I wonder why those rogue guys are after me. And that puppet.
Hearing a distant roar, Genma and Mjerky both looked back, noticing a giant wave of energy flowing in behind them in a straight line.
What the?
Said Genma as he dodged the wave barely. Running along the side wall of the wave, the white-haired man jumped off and brought out 2 split blades, violently slashing at Genma, landing only 2 hits. Genma flew back as the wave disappeared.
He doesn't seem so strong to me,
he thought to himself.
Who are you and what do you people want with me?
Said Genma furiously.
I'm here to deliver a simple little message to you. An invitation to our group,
he said.
What makes you think I'd want to join you guys? You're nothing special,
said Genma.
Oh, but we are, and since you won't join, I'll have to make you by force,
he said.
My name is Riku, got it? Never forget it.
Spinning his swords and smacking them on the ground, Riku carved an X-shaped energy flow going straight at Genma and Mjerky. Before they could even think to dodge, Riku dashed behind them and cut the back of their legs. Moments after, both were smacked and sent back flying by the energy. Smiling, Riku said,
See, this is the powers we can't give you, the powers you are meant to never get but can handle it with perfect ease. Be with this energy. Keeps it with his water.
I don't care. I don't need any more power than I've already got. I can handle myself. Get away,
said Genma angrily.
Just, your strength is pathetic. Don't tell me you can handle yourself. You can even kill that beloved leader of yours,
reminded Riku. Clenching his fists and lowering his eyebrows, Genma pulled out his shurikens.
Are you really going to fight that guy?
Asked Mjerky.
Yeah. Head off to the library. I'll catch up.
Looking worried, Mjerky flew off without any argument.
He doesn't seriously hope to win against that guy, does he?
Thought Masuki. Spinning the shuriken along his fingers, he crossed his hands and created 5 images of himself.
Eat, drink,
said Riku.
But I have better.
Making the sword glow, he smashed one against the ground, and the other on top of that one, causing 5 separate energy blasts, all going straight to the clones. 2 managed to dodge it, but the others were obliterated on contact. Both now charging straight at Riku. Making a few hand seals, both got the shuriken to glow and chucked it at Riku. Seeing this too easy, Riku jumped over them and had 2 more shuriken thrown at him, but he reflected them with 2 swings of his swords. Appearing behind Riku, a hidden Genma popped up, kicking Riku in the back in midair and landing 3 slashes with the shuriken, sending Riku flying to the ground. Landing, then sliding past Riku, Genma jumped back up into the air. Genma threw a shuriken forward and the other straight down. The one hit the ground near Riku, kicking up a chunk of land, sending him flying back. In midair, one clone grabbed the free shuriken, and the other kicked Riku in the face, making him drift to the right.
When did he get so fast?
Thought Riku.
Forget it.
Seeing that the next move would be the clone throwing the shuriken, Riku twisted around and smacked it away with one of his blades. He was right. Noticing a 3rd shuriken, which was really the first one on the ground, Riku managed to get his sword in the hole of the shuriken and flung it aside, taking out a clone, then finally landed. Hearing 2 clanks of the 2 shuriken in the distance, Genma was unarmed and stuck with a clone which was also unarmed.
Good. You're not as weak as I thought, and I liked your sneaky. but you really got to do better,
said Raikou confidently. Reaching in his pack, Genma pulled out a handful of shuriken and threw them, as if missing on purpose. He then ran forward at Raikou and suddenly stopped along with his clone, who was meters away from him, both reaching their arms out smiling. 4 big shurikens suddenly jumped up and whooshed back to their owners. Seconds after, before Raikou could notice, the shurikens all blew up to a puff of smoke on the ground. This made Raikou use a common reaction to jump out of the smoke to get out of danger. Jumping up, grabbing the shurikens, the 2 Genmerts flung their arms back and tossed them up at Raikou.
What the hell? How they get their shurikens back so fast?
Thought Raikou to himself. Holding the blades together in an X, Raikou blocked off the shuriken one by one. All that could be heard: plunk, clank, scratch, and plink. The weight and absurd size of the shurikens caused the sword to go off balance and twirl off. Landing, Raikou realized something.
I see now! Dude must be your destiny we litter!
He said as he held out his arms, pulling his blades back to him.
Like me!
At the same time, Genma slowly pulled his shuriken back into his hands. Raikou jumped in Genma's direction and began attacking. Slash after slash, Raikou took on the 2 Genmas close range easily. His blistering attacks evened up with the speed of both Genmas combined.
Ugh, I can't hit him at all,
thought Genma. Risking an open hit, Raikou ducked down and span around, slashing the clone in the legs, then went to block the next attack from the real Genma. Just as he thought, he had to risk an attack to take one. Before he could reach Genma, Genmas had managed a hit, knocking Raikou back. Slashing down, Raikou shot a wave of energy, destroying the last clone.
God, there we are! It's 3 on 1 now!
Says Raikou smiling.
What?
Replied Genma. He looked behind him and noticed a second Raikou.
When did he pull this off?
Moments later, Genma looked up and jumped back as a Raikou clone smacked into the ground from above. All 3 closed in on Genma. Genma could only manage to block off a few hits before being struck by Raikou 7 times. Falling to the ground, Genma revealed an explosive on his back and blew up, causing a huge shockwave, obliterating everything around it. Miles away, the real Genma was catching up with Mzherki quickly as the confused Raikou stands there with a smoking hole.
Glasses! Glasses!
He said to himself angrily. Giving a sigh, Raikou ran off.
Hey, Mzherki,
shouted Genma.
Huh?
Said Mzherki.
I thought you'd be killed. You're crazy going against that guy.
Well, I definitely made an exit. He was too fast for me,
muttered Genma.
Too fast for you? You caught up to me like nothing,
replied Mzherki.
Well, he's faster. That group of theirs is strong. We won't be able to get away so easily much longer, reminded
Genma. As they continued on running, a large ray of energy flashed by, with Raikou running blinding fast along it.
Thought you could get away so easily!
He screamed as he approached. Smiling, they both twisted around and opened their jackets, revealing explosives. Just as Raikou closed in on them with the inability to stop, Genma and Mzherki blew up on him, seeing a humongous explosion in the background as they ran along. Mzherki said,
"Ha ha, he fell for it."
Smiling, Genma replied,
"Yeah, let's speed up. He might catch up again."
They both kicked up their speed and continued to run away.
"Should we make 2 more clones just in case?"
asked Mzherki.
"We should be good for now. And we're running low on explosives. But just in case,"
said Genma. Smiling, Mzherki nodded his head. Standing there shaking angrily, Raikou screamed out from rage.
"They're getting away this time!"
he said, opening his eyes wide. He dashed off yet again. All that could be seen from a distance was a straight trail of kicked-up dust and dirt as Raikou dashed along the forest. After minutes of running, he closed in on Genma and Mzherki, this time throwing each sword at them both.
"Look out!"
shouted Genma as they both jumped close together, making the swords go off to the sides. Just before the blades could completely fly past them, 2 Raikou clones appeared, grabbing 1 sword each. Before Genma or Mzherki could do anything about it, they were smacked together by taking a direct hit from the blades. Less than a second later, a 3rd Raikou came from behind, kicking them both forward. As they fell down sliding, the 3 clones came together as one and smacked the ground with both blades, sending out a huge energy vortex. smacking straight into Genma and Mjerky. The vortex faded and they both lie there unable to move. Panting heavily, Raikou sighed with relief.
So what do you say? Join us!
Blood flowing from his face, Genma hesitated and said,
"No."
Thinning his eyes, Raikou got his blades ready and asked again.
Are you sure?
"Shut up,"
said Genma, laying on the ground bleeding.
"You alright, Mjerky?"
He managed to mutter.
Yeah.
Replied Mjerky. Looking at each other, they both opened up their jackets.
"What?"
Said Genma.
"Where did the explosives go?"
These!
He said, holding them out.
I took care of them a while ago! And what's this? They appear to be fake!
Smiling, Genma said.
"Damn."
I'll give you one more chance to answer, Genma!
Said Raikou. Staring for a minute, Genma rolled over to his side and pulled out a shuriken. Rolling back over, he threw the shuriken straight at Raikou and instantly jumped up, grabbing his big shurikens and creating 3 clones. Each one swarmed Raikou along with himself.
How are you still standing?
Raikou muttered to himself, making his blades glow. Raikou span around and sent 100 flashes of light all around him, wiping all 4 Genmas out. Falling from the sky, a 5th Genma slashed down at Raikou, but gets entirely blocked. Sending another swing at his legs and chest, Genma misses yet again and takes a flashing kick to the face. Followed up with 3 direct slashes, knocking him on his back.
"Don't fight him. Give him some more time to think. Okay, Radu,"
said a voice in Raikou's mind.
You have whatever!
He said to himself.
I'll let you go for now!
He said, annoyed. He looked at them for a minute, looked back, and dashed off.
"Why did they keep us alive?"
muttered Genma. Getting up with struggle, Mjerky replied,
I don't know. But we've got to go to the hospital again.
"What? No, we aren't going back there again. Just put some bandages on and go on,"
replied Genma.
But we can barely move right now,
says Mjerky as he got out a roll of bandages. Genma pulled some out as well and took his jacket off.
Whoa. You've got so many cuts. Hundreds,
says Mjerky.
"Yeah, so do you? It's that energy that he smacks at you. If you get hit by it, you're exposed to hundreds, maybe thousands of slashes,"
replied Genma.
"I don't know why people believe I'll join them. You can't just give a person power like they say they can. Anyways, let's get bandaged up."
They both spent around 10 minutes bandaging themselves, looking down as if thinking about something or depressed.
"Okay, let's go,"
said Genma. The 2 got up and ran on ahead,